Atlantic side over here to join the British fleet.
Mhm.
But what a place! While we were over there, the Battle of Midway took place out in the Pacific.
Yep.
We were sending cruisers and to do battleships work. Anyway, they were getting shot up a little bit. So this is what one of the reasons why they called us over here from. We were up in Spitsbergen, the Arctic Ocean. When I first heard about it, we're going to the Pacific. So we went back over here with the British fleet. I think we went to Scapa Flow, then we went to Iceland, and then we went to New York. From New York, we went all the way down over here through the Panama Canal to a little island called Tonga Taboo.
Mhm.
Now, what happened was I went ashore in Tonga Taboo. Now, I'm talking 10 minutes. The army came after us. Get back to your ship, get back to your ship. For God's sakes, we just got here. So we went back over here to the landing and they sent the boat right back over here to pick us up. We got aboard our ship over here and then we just took off. We took off over here to San Cristobal. There was a battle going on there in which the South Dakota, the Wasp, brand new carrier, 1939 at that time. She took some hits. And as a result of that, we got there a day late. That was it. So we went back to Tonga Taboo. And then after that, we moved up over here to Numi and New Caledonia for our forward advance base. You know, the Navy at that time was trying to sift this all out over here. They had a lot over here. Well, in the first few months of the war, Japan over here was really putting on. But after we got back, like I told you, we were in the Ifedi and the New Hebrides, and we got our aircraft. Now, Japan, I don't think, other than the two battleships that they were working on, they were working on those over here before the war started, but they didn't make it anymore. I don't think they did any more carriers, but this country here put out, I think it was around 20 first-line carriers. But we had a backup about 50 or 60 baby flat tops. And this is what we were doing, we're supplying the enormous amount of production this country had. Unbelievable. Now, those battleships that I talked to you about, the Indiana, the South Dakota, the Alabama, the Massachusetts, we had the Washington and South Dakota. Those are the only two we had at that time. So when we went to Ifedi in the New Hebrides, then we began to see the American production come out. You get the Massachusetts. She was fighting over here in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And fighting the French. And she came out over here and she joined our fleet over here right afterwards. And then there was the Alabama and the South Dakota and ourselves. So we ended up with 6 American battleships. And that was quite a while before the New Jersey and the Iowa joined us. I tell you, I slept on top side for the most part.
Did you?
I go up there, and the captain allowed it. It's kind of hot over here down in the bunks. And I was in charge of the ventilation, but Jesus, even the ventilation, you could get air down there, but it was warm and stuff like that. And then you're over a machine machine, and that heat gets up there. It's kind of hot.
Mhm.
You're on battle station, going, you're tolerating it. Not very pleasant.
Did-
But now we have sophisticated Navy with air conditioning.
Mhm.
Unbelievable. In port, yes.
Import? Yeah.
Yeah. I never did, but
Mhm.
very much so. At least I felt that way. We had over here a good group of officers. We had over here Admiral Lee. He was command the battleship Pacific. He was very smart and intelligent man. We had good captain. I had Captain Davis. Uh, we had the officers came out of Annapolis, and they knew how to handle them. They were good. I would say very highly. My own efforts. Well, I think I did pretty good as far as the service is concerned. You see, I want to tell you something. I graduated from the 7th grade. In those days there, I won't say it was permissible, but I would say also it was unadvisable, but nevertheless I graduated from the 7th grade. Now when I went into the service, they put me over here into the lookout division in the Navy on board ship. So I reasoned with myself that at that time I couldn't earn a living over here with a lookout division. So I looked around the ship, and we have everything on board ship that you would have here in the city. And as a result of that, over here, I decided over here I was going to become an electrician. So, a person such as myself, I promised them I would study, and I did. I became electrician third. I was given over here what was known as the ventilation system on board ship, which consisted of 177 motors, semi-automatic controllers, drum-type controllers, cross-the-line starters. This circuitry was located on 5 different decks, the O2, O1, main deck, second deck, and third deck. My job was to take ground tests at least once a month and repair if necessary. Then out at sea, my job was over here, let's see, I was reassigned over here to become electrician of the watch, starboard steering. Our ship had 2 rudders. There was also a port steering. If we counted port steering and starboard steering as a one unit, then we became one of 7 stations in which we could steer that ship from. However, in port, I still had my ventilation circuit to take care of. But I was resigned to stand watch on one of the following 4 stations: the forward distribution, the forward turbo, the after turbo, the after distribution. Yes, I operated 1250 kW turboelectric generators. I was able to parallel them with 650 kW diesel electric. As you can see, my background is mainly AC. And which I think should be told.
Okay.
On December 7, 1941, this country here was attacked. The Japanese attacked us at Pearl Harbor. And consequently, the mood of the country then, we just came out of a depression. And people suffered over here a great deal, much more so than people today realize. But what occurred was simply this. As we progressed over here until the December the 26th, 1941, the North Carolina and ourselves went out over here into the Gulf of Mexico. When we got into the Gulf of Mexico, both ships stopped in the middle of the Gulf. And guess what happened? We picked up 125 civilian soldiers, sailors that came aboard our ship to become shipmates. Now, December 7th, and I'm talking 1 month later, the recruiting stations were full, and we needed over here someone, and this is true, this is absolutely the truth, that these 12 people came aboard our ship over here and became shipmates. All because we were going to shoot at the USS North Carolina, and they were going to shoot at us. You know, we were going to shoot over their bow, and they're going to shoot in our wake. And this is what occurred. Because we were going to shoot, use our guns. And this is the story over here that I figured over here should be told. Because the patriotism at that time there was at the highest I've ever seen it in my life. Very, very beginning of the war. We joined the USS and the HMS Edinburgh, greeted us out in the ocean over here, and pulled us in, took us into Scapa Flow. And while we were in Scapa Flow, the King of England came over board our ship and inspected us. Now, I was much closer to the King of England than I am to you right now. He just walked by, probably this distance.
Wow.
That's a story. I left the Navy in October 10th, 1945. Yeah. I left it over here. My mother,
So that was a month after the war
Well-
ended? August?
I would say, let's see, August 15th,
Yeah.
the end of the war, September, October.
September.
Less than 2 months I got out of the service. Well, my mother had a laundry, and she kept telling me, she said, we're going to build it, you know, between my brother and myself and Morris Hamill. And we came back, and I got into it. I got home about 2, 3 o'clock, somewhere in that area, and before the hour was up, I was working in the laundry when I came home. And I operated over here the washroom. And I had the boiler, I had the washroom, I had to load them, unload them, I had to extract half of them, and I kept things going. And I was young and I was able to do that. So I went over and I got myself a job at General Electric. And I went right up the ladder there. The only thing is, they sent Schenectady sent word over here to Fitchburg, lay off X number of guys, and I got laid off. And this is how I got laid off the first time. So I went around looking for other jobs, and I couldn't find an electrical job, but when I found a job, I had to get, because I had a family, and I had to get some work. So I got on and making glue all, and I didn't like that at all, but I did it. And I was operating the camels. So I should have a yen over here to get back to General Electric, and I did. But for a long period of time, they weren't hiring. So finally, when they did start hiring, I went down there. But once again, it lasted 9 months, going right up the ladder. I was testing single-phase turbines. Christ, the paper machines were on single-stage turbine. They were operating machinery up there. But I didn't get no job on that line. I got the job on the paper line. So I started at the very bottom, being a spare hand. I worked myself up to the third hand, and then back tender. And then I got rid of that, and I went up into chemical prep. I made starches for the 3 machines that we had. That kept me going too. But I liked it better. So I stayed there till I retired. 26 and a half years. You see, what occurs over here is that education is so important. And I did not have the education. I could move around. Something didn't happen. That means over here I did not have the maneuverability in life. That's what it means, see? No maneuverability. I had to stay where I was put. So, but I'm going to tell you, because I'm good looking, I've retired 27 years already. Can you imagine that? 26 and a half years down there. And don't you forget it.
Has it gone by fast?
Huh?
Has it gone by fast?
Yes and no.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm going to tell you. I had
I'd
played
ask you
golf
the same.
up till about 75. I got a spur in my heel. And as a result, that put me out for about 6 months. Then I got rid of the spur. I went out and I played golf again. And I swung the club over on the 9th hole. There goes my back. Well, that was the end of my golf career. I was never any good at it, but I had a lot of fun with it. I'm going to tell you, I retired for 26 and a half, 27 years. That ain't too bad for a guy with a 7th grade education.
Mhm.
I don't know anybody.
Mhm.
Yeah, still good looking.